Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome back to the channel. So behind me, I have a little present for two of you guys. I'm giving away one of these of your choice. Along with that is a brand new wash mitt as well. You guys have the Q2M foam to choose from. It's a pre-wash, and then also the Q2M Bathe or the Q2M Bathe Plus. Along with that is gonna be a brand new wash mitt from Chemical Guys. All you guys have to do is head over to my Instagram account and comment on this post right here which product you guys want. It's as simple as that. I'll pick someone at total random this Saturday, 12 noon. That's all there is to it. Pretty simple. I'm using the foam pre-wash today and the Q2M Bathe Plus on my truck. This here is a car wash shampoo and an SiO2 protection. As you guys can see, wash and coat in one step. Get it nice and protected for the trip up to the dunes because today is pretty much prep day for the dunes. Throwing in these last floor mats as well as cleaning up the truck and doing some trimming as well because the new 37's are rubbing pretty bad and we would stand no chance of fun in the dunes whatsoever with the current rubbing situation right now. So trim it up to fit the new tires, and then also throw in the new elastic floor mats, and we'll compare and contrast that with the OEM floor mats, which the OEM floor mats are really nice. The elastic floor mats always offer, in my experience, more protection, a lot easier to clean. They're super thick and durable and look really good as well. So we'll pull the OEM floor mats out, put the elastic floor mats in there, get the truck all dialed in, washed, detailed, protected, all that stuff right there, and then trimmed up and ready for the trip to the dunes. We're leaving tomorrow to the area, and then the following day, Thursday morning, out to the dunes for a day of fun in the sand. So bust open the floor mats first and check these things out. Now, the first thing I want to acknowledge is how much flimsier the OEM floor mats feel. I mean, they're fine, they get the job done. They're not bad quality by any means, but these are just better quality. They're a lot thicker, a lot more rigid. One of my favorite things about the last floor mats though is the open channels. They're a lot bigger and easier to clean, right? So these aren't super tight. I've seen a lot tighter, but it is harder to get into these areas here than how they design the last floor mats. A lot more containment going on here. There's a nice tall wall right there all the way around the side, and it covers more up the front side too. As you guys can see, it's longer. Toss this in and show you guys the fitments, and just like that, that could not be any more perfect. Now, again, I love the coverage you get there on the front side, a lot better, because a lot of time when you're off-roading, you're stepping in sand, mud, dirt, whatever, and you try to get back into the truck, your shoes are pretty far up here, right? Like you're tracking stuff pretty far up there. One thing I noticed a lot of when it comes to using OEM floor mats is it always gets it past the front part of the floor mat. This overall does a better job of containing everything in the floor mat and not letting it, you know, spill out the side. As you guys can see, this lip goes over the door sill, so you're not getting dirt and all that stuff trapped inside. So before I pull out the rear floor mat, because I know a lot of you guys have kids and passengers that don't respect your truck the way you do. I get it, trust me. Show you guys kind of the coverage you get out of the OEM floor mats. This one here is good. It's solid enough, right? It does the job, but it doesn't go above and beyond. So go ahead and toss this guy in. Alrighty guys, got the floor mats in. Containment is awesome. I think it's really good at that with these higher walls here on the edge. Also, again, the open channels make it very, very easy to maintain these things, to keep them clean. Screws up to the front side here. I love how that lip kind of hangs over. It doesn't bunt up to it, it hangs over it, which is awesome. I think it's a nice little step above OEM for sure as far as coverage goes. Alright guys, back in the garage, and as you guys can see back here, it's doing a number on the fender liner. So I'm gonna trim this up, and then also the rocker. And then here in the front, you guys can see it is making contact with the front portion of the fender liner as well. So I'm gonna cut it to where it doesn't make contact with the fender liner. That's pretty much it. And then do the same on the other side, and then it's pretty much all for the trimming. Here's what's behind the fender liner. And what I'm cutting is the rocker panel right here from the corner straight up to remove this part of the plastic of it that is making contact with the tire. After that, I'm removing this bracket right here, which supports the fender liner, and it's very simple to remove. It's just two 13mm heads in there. It's almost like Toyota was like, dude, we know you guys are going bigger tires, so we got you. But yeah, once that's out of the way, we can push the fender liner further back. And just like that, two 13mm bolts later, and that bracket is now removed, giving us way more room to push the fender liner back. So time to trim the rocker and see how it clears. All right, so the bottom corner has been cut off, but now what I'm doing is shaving it up using the side of the blade. Gonna get more clearance. It still looks really nice, pretty much factory, and it's still supporting the outside of the rocker panel. This is the support for it. So if we remove this entire piece, then this thing just kind of sits flimsy. So I'm gonna remove some more of this right here, which the fender liner will cover anyways, and then shave down some of this lip because there is a lip right there. So we can shave this down a little bit and get a little more clearance here in case it does make contact with the rocker face there. So alrighty guys, so here's with the corner cut off and the fender liner down. As you guys can see now, we got clearance. I'm gonna cut the fender liner up into that edge right there, cut off this bottom portion, and we should have all the clearance we need now. Throw the hardware back in, and this guy. Push clips do not like to get reused, so once they come out, they're kind of done. But luckily I got more. Throw that back in there. Now with nothing fancier than a pair of scissors, chop this bottom off like that, and then cut off the part that's frayed for now, and then work my way up from there. I realize you guys probably can't see what's going on, my bad. There we go, looking good. Now I'm gonna trim up the front fender liner here, so we're not rubbing on that. I remove the 2 screws down here that hold the fender liner underneath the front bumper. All right, so the fender liner has been trimmed there in the front, looking good there, and yeah, in the rear too. So we're still making contact with the fender liner here in the rear at full crank. And as you guys can see, if we peek underneath here, if we do articulate at all, because the wider part of the tire is right here, if it goes up at full crank, then we're definitely hitting that pretty good. So it's a lot better than before, obviously. We're not hitting the rocker panel anymore. We're clearing that, so that's good. So at least on flat ground, yeah, I guess we're better off now than before, but it's still pretty hard to fit these massive tires in here. New push clip, put that in there. All right, I didn't realize how much easier it'd be with the utility knife. You guys have one of these laying around? This is the way to do it. Look at that. Like, it is nothing. That's hilarious. All right, see if it rubs. So during my extensive rub testing here in and out of my garage, it does still rub a little bit. So over here you guys can see that it is resting there on that fender liner. So if we had more of a positive offset, the wheel would be in more and the corner would be resting on fender liner right there. So it's kind of the problem that I'm dealing with. If I had more positive offset, then it'd be pushed in more and it wouldn't be hitting that. It'd probably just hit the frame horn a little bit and that's about it. I actually don't even think it's hitting that frame horn right now, actually. Barely touching it, actually. So yeah, it is touching it, but barely touching it. But once obviously the wheel articulates, it goes up, that's when you start having more issues because the wider part of the tire, as you guys can see, is a little bit further down. So the center of the wheel is right here. So going straight out, it's right there. So if the tire gets pushed up, it's gonna hit even worse. So in this situation, it's not impossible to off-road in the future. It's just one of those things that we have to maneuver around. I just can't be fully locked when, you know, expecting there to be travel and suspension. We can't like hit a dip with the wheel fully turned. That's pretty much all there is to it. To be honest though, I wasn't expecting this to be as aggressive of a fitment as it is right now. I mean, obviously going with the positive 10 versus the positive 25 on my methods and going with the Toyos over the BFGs, it's all around going to be a more aggressive setup, right? Just wasn't expecting it to be this aggressive and rub this much even on flat ground. Does still rub on flat ground, right? So it's crazy on these new Tundras, even a 0 offset, you're poked way out. We'll see how it goes in the future. If I can't stand these things for the long term, then we'll get rid of these and get some new wheels with more positive offset. But in the meantime, you gotta admit, they do look pretty good though. Alright guys, the first thing I'm gonna do is hit the truck with the Q2M foam pre-wash. I'm gonna throw it into my foam cannon here and then dilute this down to a 1:5 ratio. Let it dwell for 2 to 3 minutes and then rinse it off. Right now the truck is covered in all kinds of grime from like the rain kicking stuff up from the ground, whatnot. It's just, the truck's covered right now, so I'm gonna get it pre-soaked and get all that stuff off, and then we'll move on to the Q2M Bathe Plus wash and coat. Alrighty guys, the pre-wash went down real nice. It's looking actually really clean despite it being super wet. Doesn't look all grimy. I think that was a job well done. So now I threw in the Bathe Plus here, my bucket of water. I'm gonna grab my wash mitt now and get to work. I thought it was clear, but I guess not. Got to trim a bit more there on the front fender liners. So that's all good, pretty simple fix. So I'll trim those up a little bit more. This side at full turn right, almost making contact there on the frame horn, but not quite on level ground, of course. Whole different story, off-road, traveling the wheel up, it'll hit that for sure. So that's that side, not terrible on that side. Workable. This side is the problem child for sure, so we're hitting that pretty good. So we got to watch out at full turn left when we are articulating. So it's gonna be something to work around for sure. But okay, so we're fully locked to the right and we're clear of the frame horn there, and we're barely, actually no, we're good. Yeah, I was gonna say we're barely touching the fender liner, but we barely cleared it actually. So there's still room to push that back. I just haven't done that yet. I gotta kind of drill something through something back there and then throw a push clip in to pin that back. But it looks like we're clear, I'd say. I think we're good on this side. There you guys have it. Does it rub? Yes, it does still rub. Unfortunately, it is what it is though. I mean, obviously it's not terrible, but it is rubbing. It's definitely rubbing. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow in the dunes. I hope it's not horrible to deal with, because it kind of ruins the fun if you have to deal with rubbing the entire time. So this back here is going to be the trouble area right there, right? So if we were to trim back that metal support behind the fender liner, not the one we removed, there's one below it that we're making contact on right now, right there. We can trim that back and cut up that frame horn back there, and we'd be a lot better off, and then push the fender liner even further back. We could make it work with more trimming, but I was trying to avoid doing that level of trimming. I wanted to kind of just get away with doing, you know, some trimming here on the rocker panel. As you guys seen, I just kind of cut a corner off the inner part of it where you guys can't even see it, so it does look factory still because we have the fender liner covering it all up. So it does look really nice, and I shaved back this edge, the lip, a little bit, so it doesn't look, you know, it doesn't look all cut up and whatnot. Now it's a matter of, do I want to do more trimming or do I want to do not more trimming and just get a new wheel and tire combo? Because when it comes to fitment, you really need to consider the offset as well, right? If we were to go with a positive 25 again, as you guys seen on my methods, that still stuck out ever so slightly with the tire on there at a 12.5 inch wide, right? Which isn't really even a 12.5 on a KO2. It's they run small. Offset was more positive than the wheel is in the fender more, right? So further away from the rocker panel here and that metal support behind the fender liner. So that would be better if we had more positive, but then we're closer to the frame horn, so that would have to be cut off for sure if we had more positive. But I think it'd be easier to cut that off, go more positive, than having to shave back that metal support. It might be a better way to do it. I'm not too sure what I'm doing quite yet, but kind of one of those things where you can learn to maneuver around it. If you anticipate your suspension traveling a bit, then straighten the wheel out so you don't have any major rubbing on the, you know, the hard metal parts of the truck here. So I don't know, it's annoying for sure. I'd love to go out there and just be kind of mind free and just kind of send it, but with this situation here and not doing a bunch of trimming, we got to work around it. It is what it is, but in the meantime, I got to get home now and pack for the trip. I'm heading up there tonight, and then first thing tomorrow morning, off to the Pismo Dunes, and we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys soon. Till then, peace.